Good morning and welcome to today's webinar on Microsoft Bookings. I started using this several months back, and it has saved me so very much time being able to book everything. I don't know if any of you have recently logged into your Office 365, Microsoft 365 screen, but they changed this to where they made everything small icons. Can't say I am a huge fan unless you're really good, and I actually do know all of the characters now. Bookings is the one that looks like a B. Just as an FYI, you can also click on the what we call the waffle to get here. You can also go to all items, all apps, so it'll show you, sorry, not all forms, go to all apps, and you can see all of the apps this way. That's another way that you can get to them. So just quick update there. So we are going to, however, go to Microsoft Bookings. And what it'll do is it's going to take us to this first screen. So a couple of things to keep in mind is that bookings will interact live with your Microsoft calendar, and it allows others to book time in your calendar in ways that you've set up. And we'll go through those, but you can say, I only want to do it on these days. I only want to do it between these hours. I want this much free time before and this much free time afterwards. So there's several different ways that you can make it so that it works best for you. Also, you must have a Microsoft 365 Business Standard or the Business Premium license. So effectively the email only license that gives you email, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams, that $5 a month license does not give you the access into the bookings area. However, you still can set up bookings for your end users. They just won't have access into this bookings page like you would. So that's the first couple of things. We're going to go over the home page when you first log in. First thing you're going to see is it'll welcome you and then give you new features. We're going to go over a lot of these, but there's some cool things in here, setting your business hours, but a couple of other things. These are all things I'm going to teach you today going through here. But one of them is get connected on Facebook. Get booked on Facebook. That's a new one that showed up recently. And if you click on that, that's going to take you to a page to explain how you could get this set up through a Facebook feed as well. Now, for myself, I use this on a very select basis. I'm sure lots of you have seen the email signature files that say book a meeting with me, and it's in every single signature file that they do. Quite honestly, I don't want to make myself that available. One of my fears is that it's going to be more people trying to sell stuff. So I'm very selective. I personally use this for when somebody says, hey, let's book a meeting. It's like, great, here's a link to my calendar. It saves all that back and forth from going around. The other nice thing is it also sends them reminders, very much like you got a reminder on the webinar. Bookings is set up to do reminders as well, and I'll show you that as well. So always look, and then once you click through on something, for example, get the Microsoft app, once you click through on it, that's going to put a check mark that you've done it, and then it'll move it to the end of the line. So once you go through these, so as you log into the bookings page, just pay attention, and that's how you're going to find out if anything new has shown up. First thing we're going to do is you can add your logo. So you just click on add the logo, upload a new logo, and let me see. I thought I had saved this correctly last night. Okay, so marketing, wrong place. And logos, let me see. Okay, I'm just gonna do logo here. Okay, so that'll grab the logo, puts it in here. We'll talk about being able to change colors. I don't like how that plays off that though. So the background I'm gonna make green, hit save, and bam, I've got my logo uploaded. Now you can do that as an image, you can do that as a company logo, however you want there. So I'm gonna walk you through all of these. Interestingly enough, I think it's best to start from the bottom and work our way up. So the first thing I'm gonna do is business information. Give it a name, give it an address, 3455. There we go. Thank you. And then if I want to put my website address in here, I can do that. If you want to have a privacy policy or terms and condition URL, you simply put that on your website. I would suggest that you hide it from search engines, and then you can link to it from here. So if you have a need, hey, by booking this, you're da 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 da, you can have it say anything you want there on your terms and conditions. The business type, you can put in there if you want. Currency. So currency is if you want to list a service. So for example, if you had a consulting business, let's say that we build hourly, you might want to book with a tier 1 tech or 2-tier tech or a level 3 engineer. We could have different, we could use the USD currency, and you'll see when we go into setup of the particular services that we offer, that's how you could use the currency there. So we've got that part, and then we've got our business hours. We're 8 by 5 Monday through Friday. You can change that however you would like. Once you've got that done, you go ahead and click save, and now you've got your main business information saved in here. Make sure I've got that saved. Okay. Next, we're going to move up to services, and this is where you're going to add your services. Now, by default, it has this initial consultation. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new service, and we're going to call this tech support tier 2. Okay, and you can put the description. Default location. So if you want to put an address of where you're going to be doing that, you can. Now this is if you were going to be doing a service. I think most of the people on today are actually going to be wanting to book meetings. So what I did is I created 2 different meetings. I did a 30-minute meeting with Michael. Now, because we are in the COVID world, I'm not going to have a default location. What I'm going to do is say add an online meeting. So now by clicking that, every single time somebody uses my bookings calendar page, it will create a Teams meeting and put it on my calendar and send them a calendar invite as well. Now, the default is 1 hour. I do not want this. This is going to be a 30-minute meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and make that 30 minutes. Now, this is where I talked about buffering time. So if you don't want, one of the things that I struggled with when I first set this up is that somebody would book a 30-minute and then a 30-minute back-to-back, and there's just no time to breathe. So you can say, hey, I want a buffer time. So they can't book me for, I could say whatever amount of time. I'm going to go ahead and say 15 minutes on this one and 15 minutes after. What I do want to point out here is this is a 30-minute meeting, 15 minutes before, 15 minutes after, meaning there will have to be a blank space of 1 hour on my calendar for them to be able to book. So if I'm available only from 10 to 11, the only option that would show up for them at that point would be 10:15 to 10:45, and I'll show you how that works. This is if your staff books it and it sends the invite. The nice part about that is that then it'll send out the reminders if you have those set up. You can let them manage it so they can go back if they need to cancel for some reason, they can do that and reschedule. You would toggle that on if you wanted. Attendees minimum. This is where if you have your default price, you can set a fixed price, hourly, free, call us, whatever you want to do there. And then those are your internal notes if you want that for your staff. Now, custom fields. When we go in here, this is the information that is going to be highlighted on the form, and you'll see this when we get into the bookings page. We can come back to this as well. But basically, these are the 4 things that it does by default, and it makes the email required. If you're going to call them, you might also want to make that required. And you may want to ask them a question. One of the things is I sent out 4 or 5 invites, not remembering who was what. And then it's like, wait, what is this for? So what I did is I created a custom field. What is the purpose of this meeting? If you notice right now, this is not highlighted and I can't click required. Here's why. If I uncheck the customer notes, that's not going to show up on the booking screen. So right here, I'm going to highlight it. Now that'll show up, and I'm going to make that required. So they have to give me the email, the phone number, and the purpose of the meeting. If they want to add their address, they can. I go ahead and click OK and save. Go back in, and I've still got everything set here. I've got no price set, custom fields. Now I've got the reminders. So in here, I can set up a reminder, email one day, send to the customer, just a quick reminder your service is coming up. You can put any customized message you want in there, and you are not limited to just one. You can also say, I want an email that goes out 30 minutes before saying, hey, reminder, your meeting with me is in 30 minutes. So they'll get one day before, 30 minutes before. That's up to you, however often you want to set those up. This is for email confirmation if you want to send them out. And then this one would be if you want to text message them. I would click to learn more. We don't do that. I kind of want to stay away from that personally. Publishing options, you'll see this when we get to the booking page, but that basically says show this on the main booking page. So the booking page has the option of showing all of the services for everyone. So if you run let's say you run a hair salon with 5 different stylists, you'd want to be able to show everybody's calendar that way. For myself, because I'm right now, there's only a few of us using this. I don't actually use the booking page. I just use links when I need to send people. It ultimately takes them through the booking page, and I'll show you the difference when we get there. Here, online scheduling, use the default scheduling policy. That will override everything. So the default policy is set up, hey, we're here 8 to 5. Anybody can book on the calendar. Right now, I'm saying anybody can book this particular one. I have to have 15 minutes before and after. It's 30 minutes long, but use the policy. That policy right now says we're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Meaning if I've got a blank on my calendar between 8 o'clock and 9 a.m., somebody could book me at 8:15. Personally, I do not like meetings first thing in the morning, so I block my time differently. And what I've done is instead of using the default, I go ahead and say, okay, it's going to be show the availability in 30 minutes, the maximum lead time. So I don't want somebody at 10 o'clock at night being able to book a meeting with me at 9 o'clock the next morning. So I say I want a minimum of 24 hours before they would be able to book something. So if they come in at 10 o'clock, even if my calendar is open, they're not going to see anything the next day if I say it's a 24-hour lead time booking. And then the maximum is how far in advance can they do. Oftentimes you want to do this, change it out. That's the number of days. Change that to say 3 weeks out that they can't book farther than that. Email notifications, who do you want to notify? So send an invite to the customer in addition to the confirmation and notify the business, meaning you. So it'll tell you. And then staff, this is on the bookings page again, is if you want them to be able to choose a specific person. If you're setting it up like me, you would uncheck this. And then we've got availability. And this is where I can book basically my crazy. Right now, book when the staff are free. Nope, I do not want that level of access to my calendar. So I'm going to say custom hours for me. And for myself, I don't want anybody to be able to schedule a meeting before 10 a.m. So I'm just going to go through and say on Mondays, do it each day. Now on Wednesdays, I have some other things in the morning that I do. I go on a long run, so I don't want anybody on Wednesdays to be able to book before 11. I'll go ahead and leave Thursday and Friday. I'll go ahead and take the early meetings. Here, however, I do not want to book past 4 o'clock. I like to be able to have the end of my day so that I can kind of clean up, get everything done that way. So you'll see now that I've gone in and I've set my hours for this 30-minute service appointment that we have. Now, they call it a service, even though it's just a meeting. That's the Microsoft term that's being used. So I've now got all of this set up. And one final thing is you may want to put in some I'm not available. So these may be your regular hours, but let's say you're going on vacation. So you're going to be gone for October 11th through the 17th, and you're just going to say not bookable. So that takes care of that. We save it, bam. I've now got my 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and delete this initial consultation that they did. By the way, it will not allow you to delete that initial default one until you have one set up. There always has to be one in the services list. So I'm going to go ahead and move up to staff. Now, right now, I am the only staff in here because we're on, if you notice, my tlctech.us account, not my primary business tlctech.com account. This is the account I use for doing the show off so that I never accidentally show something that I shouldn't be showing. So the staff is right here, and I can go in and edit myself. So in here, here's my details, my name, my phone number. So here's the direct dial, and I have administrator, and I want to notify, this will notify me when things come on. This is super, super critical right here. Events on Office Calendar affect availability. If you do not check that, it will not go look at your Outlook calendar and it'll end up double booking you. That you do not want to make that mistake. So make sure that we have, you want to check the events on your Office calendar, affect availability. And this is, again, there's several areas that you can override things. This is, I'm going to say use business hours. Now, again, that's just a setting. My individual 30-minute service, I said override, do not use the default setting. So I'm fine just leaving that there. I can also uncheck that and then customize those if I want it. So I'm going to say yes to that. Let me see. So the basics. The other thing, I talked about who has licenses available. Let's say that you've got somebody that does need to be able to do bookings, but they've only got the $5 license. You can go ahead and add them here. You pick a color, that's no big deal, their initials. They have to have an email and they have to have a phone number. It'll notify them when they get a booking. It will not, however, allow them to come into this area of the 365 to be able to get to the bookings page and interact. So you as an administrator would have to take care of that. So again, anybody that has the license will show up here. If you need to add somebody without a license, you just do it by the add the staff. Okay, so customers we're going to come back to, and then bookings page. So this is where you get to do some customization, book control. This is how you can connect to Facebook right here. Actually, I didn't even see that last night when I was going over this. So you can do a connect to Facebook this way. So a couple of things here, very, very important. Disable direct search engine indexing a booking page. By default, if you do not check that, the search engines can crawl through and find this bookings page, and then you become searchable. If you are a person that sells times or services, that may be something you absolutely want to happen. For myself, the thought of my calendar becoming accessible in a search engine is nothing short of a nightmare on Elm Street. So I always disable direct search engine indexing of the page. And this one is, I'm not sure any of you would use it, but you can say they have to have, if they book from my organization, they have to have an Office 365 account. That's a little obscure. That would be used in really large organizations. I don't think you need to worry about that. If you want to show data usage consent, if you're collecting any information, you can check mark that and then put in the data collection. Again, scheduling policy. Again, remember where it said use default. Let me go back on the services. Discard that. Services right here. If I said use the down here, use the default scheduling policy. That's what this part is about. This is the default scheduling policy. So you can have this be the policy for everybody in your organization, or you can override it on an individual service item level, like I had done before. Again, email notifications. This again goes into the scheduling policy. The notifications, sending a meeting invite to the client, allowing them to choose a specific person. Again, the book available or not bookable custom hours, and again the unavailability or not available during this time. So those are the same things. So you'll find them in several different ways. Just remember the booking page runs across the entire organization, whereas if you're doing it individualized on the services page, and you can say do not use the standard scheduling policy, then you can set your own customized hours. And I'm going to show you some live examples, and we'll go and change some things, and then I'll show you how that shows up. Okay, so we've talked about custom hours, and then the different dates down here. If I keep this as the scheduling policy, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that just out of default, just in case somebody does not customize things, that the default policy is set up. We'll go ahead and notify them and me. We'll let them allow specific people. I'm going to say only, again, I'm going to say bookable when the staff are free. And then if I wanted to have any times that were not available. Now you'll notice up here, oh, sorry. And then on the right-hand side, I get to customize the page. For TLC, we did it these colors. You can set custom color schemes if you wanted to use custom Pantone colors, those kind of things. Display the logo, and then always show time slots in the business time zone. So that's saying my time zone. So I uncheck that. I've been having meetings with other people. Crazy story. We got a lead from Europe on doing a digital transformation because they found some of the previous webinars that we've done. It was pretty cool. And so I sent over book a meeting. When they look at it, they're going to see it in their time zone. Now here you have save and publish. Right now it is not published, so I'm going to go ahead and save and publish this. And then what happens is I can now go to my published page and see what it looks like. So this is a 30-minute meeting with Michael. This is available tomorrow. You notice that it's not giving me a 10:30 slot because that does not meet what I said about 24 hours and the 15-minute buffer. If I had shown you the screen at 10:14, there would have been a 10:30 option here as well. On Friday, I've got all of these times available. Remember on Friday, I said that I wasn't going to I was going to go ahead and take 8 a.m. meetings. Monday, again, 10:15 is the first because I said 10 to 4. And remember, I needed a 15-minute buffer before and after, which explains the 3:15. We had made Mondays 10 to 4. I need a 15-minute buffer after, so the last appointment that could be had is 3:15. Again, if I go to Wednesday, you'll notice my first one I had said I don't want to take appointments till 11. There we go. Now let me go back and just change a couple of quick things here. I'm going to go back to the services, and I'm going to change this and say, you know what? I don't want to do meetings on Fridays. I want to get caught up. So I'm going to take Friday off the table, and I'm going to go ahead and I still want the buffer, but I don't need it before, but I need it after. So go ahead and save that. And go back to the bookings page. I'm going to reload the page. Now you notice on Thursday, because I don't have the buffer, I've got the 10:30 meeting available now. Friday, it's not available. Now, if we go look at my calendar is wide open. I've got a meeting at 8:30, at 10, at 12, and at 2. Go back over here. Let me see, that was Thursday. So you can see on my Thursday, get these side by side for you. Okay, so going side by side here just to make it fun. Pull this over a little bit more. Okay, so on Thursday, I've got 10:30. Yep, that gives me, so I said no lead time. That's why the 10:30 is available. 11:30 not available because that wouldn't give me the 15-minute lead time afterwards. 12:30 is available because I didn't have any lead time before. 2:30, and then it doesn't give me from the 1, it didn't give me 1:30 because of the lead time, and I said only show in 30-minute blocks. If I had said these in 15-minute blocks, it would have shown slightly differently. And then again, 3 o'clock is going to be my last one because I wanted I've got 2:30 and 3, but again, the 3:30 wouldn't work because it wouldn't let me have the lead time afterwards. Friday, not available at all. Go back to the Monday, here's my hours again, and again, I'm later on the Wednesday. You'll notice here, when I go in to do the bookings, let's go ahead, let me go and put so you can see how this shows up. On Thursday, I will take let's take 10:30. Okay, it's gonna be Michael, my address, and book. Oh, sorry, I can't do that because it needs the following. So go back, and what is the purpose of this meeting? To show stuff off. Now I'm going to book it, and you will see in short order, and a reminder, the joy of doing things in live real time. Okay, so we've got the booking, and look at what just showed up right here. So, okay, I've got my 30-minute booking. It tells me who. Now, this sent me a calendar invite as well, so of course I'm going to say yes. You'll notice that it's got the join button, so it's already linked to a Teams meeting. And if I go into my email, you'll see that I got it'll send me a meeting, it'll send me an email right there saying, hey, there's a new booking. Here's who it is. It's a 30-minute. And because I had checked both of the boxes, that's why I got the double link there. So now I've got the booking meeting that showed up here. It's in my calendar. It's a Teams meeting. Everything's been completely set up for me. Very, very cool. So I'm going to go back now into the bookings page, and I'm going to do 2 things now. I'm going to show you the calendar. Now, if you notice, I've got the 30-minute meeting, but didn't have a lot of other things on my calendar on Thursday. And this can be confusing unless you remember the only thing that shows up on the bookings calendar page are items that were booked through the bookings calendar system. So the only exception to this is if I go look at the day, I can see side by side. However, I cannot see what's in there. If I go back over to my calendar, I can see meeting. Let me just update this really quick. Meeting, edit is meeting example. So you'll see that I can see the title here. Again, this is my personal calendar in Outlook. But when I go to the bookings page, I can see this as Michael Nelson's calendar, but I can't see what's on there. And that's meant to keep people's calendars private. So if you were booking for multiple people, you would be able to see multiple calendars in here. But you can't see what they're doing. What you can see, however, is whatever meetings were booked. Now, I'm going to jump back over for a second. I showed you how to do a 30-minute meeting. So for services here, I'm going to add one more and do a 60-minute meeting with Michael. Okay, we're going to make this online. It's 1 hour. I'm not going to buffer my time this time to kind of show you how that works. I'll let customers manage it. No prices, modify. I'm going to go ahead and use the default scheduling options for now. So I'm going to save that. So now I've got 2 different meetings with me. If I go to the bookings page, and now I open the published page again, you're going to notice I have 2 options here. 30 minutes meeting with Michael or a 1 hour meeting with Michael. See that something just showed up here though. See this select staff optional? Where'd that come from? Let me go back and remind you on the services page, one of the options is to, right here, allow customers to choose specific person for the booking. So by default, again, we set it up on the bookings page. We allowed customers to choose specific person for the booking. I'm gonna go ahead and uncheck that because I want to keep the standard policy on my 1 hour and not have to override it. So I'm not going to allow that. I'm going to save and publish that. Go back to the published page. Now I've got the 30-minute, I've got the 1 hour, and you notice that that now took away. Let me show you the difference here though. If I go 30 minutes on Friday, it's unavailable. If I go for 1 hour on Friday, they're all available. And this is where it's important, is remember on the services, on the 30-minute, I said, hey, use my custom scheduling instead of the default. On the 60-minute, however, I said use the standard use the default scheduling options, and those defaults are set on this bookings page right here on the default. So booking when staff are free. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and do a custom. I could go ahead and keep 8x5, but then I could say, you know what? Let's take Friday off the table permanently. Go ahead and save and publish it. Go back up, open the published page. And now you notice that my Friday options are no longer there because I overrode those. So again, that can get a little confusing, but remember that the booking page is the global policy. When you go down to the services, you can do those individually following the policy or breaking out of the policy and doing your own customized. I've got two different bookings, and let's say, and this actually came up the other day, somebody emailed me and said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about such and such. They were trying to sell me something. As we've got our new salesperson, I'm being a little more generous in taking sales calls because I'm kind of interested to see how other people are doing. So I said, sure. I sent them a 30-minute link. And let me show you how I do that on my TLC Tech Calendar. You'll notice here's an email. And what I did is I created signature files. So I can go in and insert, let me see, it's easier on full screen. I can insert signature 30 minutes. So I have pre-created a signature file that said book a 30-minute meeting with me. Now, when they click on my 30-minute, that takes them to my 30-minute booking page. You notice I don't even have, now it's, oh, we're in September here. Let me go to October. So now these are the options that are available for that 30-minute meeting. Monday, I'm out of the office. I've got a full day event, so that's not showing up. So if you send them to the master bookings page, they'll be able to see both of them. However, if you send them to the individual page, like right here, I can see, you notice that this has its own address. So if I copy that, copy paste, that's what I embedded into my 30-minute meeting. If I go here and go to that address, all you see is the 30-minute meeting. So that's why I decided to create a 30-minute and a 60-minute, because that gives me more control over the amount of time I let somebody have on my calendar. Hope that makes sense to all there. Okay, so we've talked about saving and publishing. I've shown you how to take all Fridays off the table. Also a reminder that you can go back and let me see, discard this. Actually, I'll go ahead and save that. Go to the bookings page, and I took Friday off the table here. If I wanted to put it back, I just go that way. And again, a reminder, you can do holidays here. So if you've got, you know, this Friday, we've got an all-day leadership meeting. So I would have that. It's if it were not booked in my calendar, the fact that I already have it booked in my calendar means that time won't show up as available on my bookings calendar, but you can do holidays this way. There's all sorts of things you can set up. So these are the weekly rules if you want to do custom hours, and then these are kind of the exceptions to the rules that you need to take care of. We've talked about 30 and 60-minute meetings. Again, if you noticed on my Outlook, on my personal Outlook, I embedded this 30-minute meeting. You can see that it actually goes to that full-on address, but I don't want to send this kind of an address in an email. So if I did a new email message, that otherwise it would look like that. That's just kind of messy. So so in my settings, in my signature file, I went ahead and created, let me do this again. So I'm going to, let me see, I'm going to take this. Actually, I wanted to put this in. So on the 30-minute, I'm going to edit this, put the signature file in. So I've got the full signature file. Now, all I did here is I said, and then what I did is I highlighted 30-minute meeting, and right over here I said hyperlink. What do you want to hyperlink to? I gave it the address. Oops. Hold on, let me go back and get that again. So copy, flip back over here, and paste that. Bam. And then what it does is it embeds that link. So you'll notice address. It's going to go to, okay, existing. Yeah, there's this. So now it just made that a hyperlink. So when they click on that, then it'll link up directly to my bookings page. So let me get rid of that. Okay. So now it makes it look much cleaner than this long email address. Okay, so I've gone ahead and shown you how to create 30-minute, 60-minute options, sending email confirmations, shown you how to book. Any questions here? Because this is kind of the quickest one we've done so far this time. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions come up. Remember, in your GoToWebinar, there is a questions tab, and you can just pop a question in there. So again, a reminder, when you come in, you're going to go to Office 365, click on the bookings page. The first time you log on, it's going to take you to what looks more like a marketing page, ask you the name of the business, just type your business name in there, and then it will jump you into this page as you see it. Again, start with the adding your logo, start from the bottom, work your way up. Business information gives you all the basics about your business. Services, for myself, these are just meetings. I use those as services. Staff, those are the people that are going to be booking. Oh, customers, I forgot to go back to. Once somebody books a meeting with you, they will show up under the customers page. Until somebody uses it though, there won't be anybody in there. Bookings page, that's the big master overall portion of the bookings environment. Again, a reminder, the scheduling policy you set here will be the default for everything unless you override it on the individual services, which you can do down here simply by unchecking use the scheduled default policy. You can go into the calendar to see what was booked and view day by day this way. Okay, well, I thank you very much for attending. I hope this was helpful. This has actually covered all of the Office 365 business apps that we were planning on showing you. If there's more you want to know about, please feel free to pop me an email. Hector and I are going to be doing some upcoming webinars on security, keeping your data secure. We're going to be working with one of our HR professionals to talk about security in HR in kind of the crazy new normal with COVID. So there'll be some upcoming webinars on that, but I welcome any suggestions of what you'd like to see for upcoming webinars as well. Thank you very much for attending. Bye-bye.